Hey, so doing another video. Of course, this snare will come out the day after, but this is just a few hours after the last one I made. Been a couple things I wanted to mention that I didn't mention in that video, and also something kind of crazy that happened today in between the videos. But I'll just go ahead and mention this first. It's something I kind of again forgot to mention in the last video. One of my biggest things that I want to figure out kind of in this whole process of the book writing, or hopefully I can get closer to an answer anyways, is are the NPCs or normies, whatever, are they soulless, or do they have a soul in them? It's just buried so far down they can't like uh realize it, or whatever, right? Does it take like something to awaken it? Kind of what's the deal there? That's what I want to know. Part of me feels like they don't, just because it's almost as if like nothing you do can like help them realize these things, or just goes in one ear out the other, right? But then again, I feel like there's people that's kind of in your in between, right? And basically, these are people that's had like experiences, whatever it may be. Like, sorry, I'm snotting a little bit and everything. It's cold as fuck. It's about dark and stuff. I think it's below freezing now already, but anyways, kind of like, where do they stand, and how do they go from like middle point to kind of being awake on these things or whatever, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that are kind of stuck in that in between, because they're still looking to organized, your three main religions and stuff like that, or they are looking like to politics or something for the answer, which I find to be, again, kind of a telltale sign that they're either NPCs, or they haven't kind of woken up to anything yet, right? Like fully awake, that is. That's one of the big things that I want to kind of discover and hopefully figure out. So I mean, we'll just kind of see on that. Hopefully I'll find my answer kind of on the journey, because again, the book's kind of like these videos. It's like a journey for me in a way. But yeah. So with that, there's one other thing I was going to talk about with that. Let's see if I can try to get the drum up here. Probably hearing the chickens in the background too, but I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, like, basically just, now I remember what I was going to mention. Chicken trying to fly up in the tree, and it's on like this little wobbly branch right now. But most people that I feel like have kind of woken up and are able to like self-realize these things, it doesn't, you start having certain feelings and stuff at a young age. Like for me personally, I started off going to Christian school, preschool through second grade, and even in that age, I was like so worried that I'm going to hell and all this other stuff, because I had like to have ear tubes and stuff, and I couldn't get water in my ears, so I couldn't get baptized, and it's just like a thing, right? And they're always telling you all this bullshit and stuff like that. And I've kind of been in the trenches with the Christianity stuff, right? And it's kind of crazy to think about, like, where I was at and stuff, you know, with that. But I was always worried about going to hell because of that, or because of these little things or whatever. And I felt like the need to grow up really quick. I learned at an early age that I can't really depend on, you know, my family or my parents to understand me or things, right? Um, but not always. I don't think that's the case for everybody, but I would say for a lot of people, you just know that something is off, right? Why was I drawn to, you know, the things that I was, right? At an early age. Um, I was like, and I'm not trying to make this like a thing like, oh, I'm so much cooler or whatever because of this. And really, it's not, because honestly, you kind of grow up with all these like weird feelings of everything, and you feel as if you're lonely and isolated, can't live up to expectations that other put towards you. Ignorance is, excuse me, I just ate too. Had a little bit after supper, but ignorance is bliss, kind of like, you know. Um, but that's kind of where I'm at. What I'm thinking is, again, just kind of wondering about where people's at, you know, and how they got to that point, what kind of traumas. And I've had some other traumas and stuff too. And most people that are awakened, they have like, again, certain traumas. It's uh if anybody's ever watched fucking Naruto, it's like the fucking Uchihas, they go through like a trauma thing, then it awakens their Sharingan, like their eyes, where they're able to see and have these abilities and shit. And it's kind of like, I feel like that for people who are kind of like awakened to these things and are, oh, what's the term I'm looking for? They're very self-aware of these things. Sometimes you go a long time through life figuring out how to deal with these things. You know, that's part of it. You know, but that's kind of been me. You know, trying different things, trying to finally settle into normie society and not working. Then eventually just reverting back to yourself and doing what feels right and kind of figuring shit out on your own. You know, uh, so. Sitting here at the picnic table, by the way, in the backyard, but excuse me. But yeah, it's like trauma can almost like induce these like soul awakening things. I've heard some people talk about how, you know, people have past lives, they have these certain traumas, and then they kind of have to like work through them. It's kind of like if you're playing a really hard video game or something like that, you know, you got to learn the boss's patterns in a way before you can beat them and then move on, you know. So it's kind of what I've just been wondering about a little bit. And like I say, these are things I'm going to try to dive into in the book and try to research and figure out for myself. But anyways, I won't drag this on too long. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, but I'm going to record just another one. That way I have these topics kind of separated out, because this took a little bit longer than I was thinking about. I keep watching the chickens, what I'm looking over at and stuff. But anyways, though, hope you guys have a great rest of your day if anybody watches this. So